So I'm here to talk to you about training to teach computer science, or computer science with maths at London Met. Can I just get a show of hands at this point? Has anybody thought of becoming a computer science teacher? One person. Okay, perfect. So that's just one person. Welcome guys, welcome. So hopefully by the end of this, that number goes up slightly. So my name's Tarbo. I am a Senior Lecturer of Computer Science Education. That means that I am the course lead for the Computer Science PGCE and the course lead for the Computer Science PGCE with maths. I've taught both subjects my entire career, and now I'm here training teachers at London Met. So first question. I've been taking it for granted as I've been talking to different groups that everybody knows what PGCE is, and actually Steph in our presentation last week, you prompted me, you're like, actually, do people know what PGCE is? Can anybody explain, does anybody know what PGCE is? Postgraduate Certificate in Education. No, that's why I'm here. So, in this country, as distinct from other countries and particularly other English-speaking countries, we train to teach in university, and we do that with 60 credits of master's level theory alongside 2 placements of classroom experience. So in total, that's 6 months of practice placement teaching in a real school, real children, and 3 months of university-based tuition. If nobody's thought about being a computer science teacher, you won't have noticed that every English-speaking international school in the entire world wants the PGCE. That's considering the fact that Canada's got their version, Australia's got their version, the United States has a different version for every state, and yet everybody in the world in the international school system wants a PGCE with QTS. And the reason for that is it's one of the things in England we do really, really well. It is a world-leading qualification, and it's because in most countries they either do the theory bit, like in India, or they do the practice bit. I can't give you an example of that off the top of my head, but what we do really well is we combine the 2 together. So what I'm going to try and do is help you understand what kind of things you would be doing on the PGCE, and hopefully some of you will start to think it's for you. So here's an example of a question that I discussed with a friend of mine. So this is this website. A friend of mine set this up 10 years ago. He remains at this company as a CTO, and me and him have a lot to talk about, even though I'm a computer science teacher and he's Chief Technology Officer. And what we talk about is what makes a 10x developer. Because actually he's very interested in that from a recruitment perspective, and I'm very interested in that because in the end, the tools and tricks and training techniques that I'm using are there to make people industry ready. And you might not think about that for an 11-year-old, but it's the same business. The process of developing computer scientists and developers in a company is very similar to the processes of developing them in a secondary school classroom. So, can anybody say what they think makes a 10x developer? What makes a 10x developer? So you guys are 2 years into a computer science degree now. Hopefully you've got a sense of what is productivity and what productivity isn't. What makes it work when it works well? Interesting, nobody. And how many? 40 computer scientists?
We are not from computer science.
Sorry, say again?
I think we are not from computer science, all of us.
Okay.
We are computer network and cybersecurity. So.
Sure. What makes a 10x cybersecurity person?
I would say a very productive person.
Absolutely, some kind of output, but what sits underneath that? If you're trying to make that better, how would you do that? What would you do to make someone productive? Yes, please. Practice, absolutely. So you've hit one of the key ideas. I'm going to talk about practice a little bit. Anything else? You started an answer. Skills, absolutely. So, and kind of, there's a number of levels we can address skills at. We can talk about hard skills and soft skills. So we've got practice, we've got skills. In the last time I delivered this, somebody went, cloud. So that's the stack, right? I don't think the stack matters that much. But the stack could be something we answer to that. So skills, practice, anything else?
Consistency.
Absolutely. So consistency, right? It's no good practicing. Practicing if you're not practicing consistently. Absolutely. So, well, these are the things we think about as computer science teachers. But here is what, after 10 years of teaching, I think makes the difference. So, purposeful practice. So not just practice, right? Practice. So we know that actually surgeons are less effective 2 years out of medical school. We know that this is true of all professionals actually, if they don't, engage in purposeful practice. Really picking up the things which underpin performance, managing time well, getting feedback. Skills, I suppose skills is going to sort of sit still in this practice area, but this other thing, social capital, this is what I spend most of my time thinking about. If neither of your parents were engineers, how would you know that that could be a possibility for you? Right? I never met an engineer by the time I reached university. Now, believe it or not, I didn't want to be an engineer. Not because I didn't like the idea, I didn't know what it was. Right? So you guys, maybe you have families that are teachers, but actually, do you know what teaching is in that kind of deep way? And what we do with social capital, we identify talent and we share experiences. And then also motivation. Nobody said motivation. That's really interesting. That was the first answer in the last presentation. Right? You don't really want to succeed, and you've got to be curious, but you've also got to be recognized for that. And at the center is great teaching. Nobody becomes the best without great teaching. It's not an accident that Tiger Woods' dad was a golf instructor. It's not an accident that Serena Williams and Venus Williams' father was a tennis instructor. It's not I can list them off. Mozart's dad was a music teacher. It's always like that. Great teachers make the difference. So these are the kind of things we think about as teachers and training teachers. So why London Met? So at this point, hopefully this has been engaging. You've enjoyed thinking about how we would develop people to achieve more than they could before. They met us, and now it's time to talk about why London Met. So the bursary is very, very generous. The bursary plus the scholarship makes, and when you take student fees out of that, this is between £22,000 and £24,000 tax-free. You're not paying council tax. That is equivalent to a starting salary of 30k. This is extremely generous. It wasn't like this when I trained. You've been at London Met for 2 years, so hopefully you appreciate that actually we provide best support. That's something that we pride ourselves on, and actually, if you were to choose nothing else to make a decision on, I think the support would be the thing to do. If you're interested in computer science with maths, there's only one PGCE like that in the country, and that's the one here. Started this September, so I'm afraid you guys don't have a choice. Cutting edge, I came out of school 2 years ago. Everything that I teach you, I have practiced in the classroom. It works. If you go to various other providers in the city, what you'll find is they've been doing the PGCE much longer than they were teachers, and some of the stuff they do doesn't work anymore, and they don't realize that yet. Streamlined processing discount, so for London Met alumni, you get a £2,000 discount if you continue to study here. So that's the difference between £9,000 fees for the year and £7,000 fees for the year, which obviously makes that top number go up. How am I doing for time? I'm just about, I'm testing the limits. This is a webinar that I will be running on Friday. Is the 8th Friday? Anyway, whenever that is, that's when I'll be there. It's half an hour long, and it's just me demystifying the process of applying. So we apply through the government website. It's actually very simple, but this will just be me guiding people who are interested through, and an opportunity to ask questions. So if you are interested in learning more, please scan that QR code. Even if you don't want to attend that webinar, please scan that QR code if you want to be on the mailing list. I will get your email address, and this will allow me to put you on the mailing list. So I'm just going to leave a minute now and let people who are interested scan that QR code. Sorry, I'll get out of the way. anybody have any very quick questions before I run away and give you back to your professor?
Yep.
Yes, please.
This teaching thing is about the characteristics and skills that we have to have, like teachers. Is going to be included in what we are studying? I mean, you say about computing and science, this kind of thing, but for example, can I do use programming or Python programming?
Yeah, so great question. So the question is, the skills and characteristics of a teacher, does that include what I've learned on my degree? Yes, absolutely. If you see what is taught at GCSE and A-level, it will make your eyes water. It's very rigorous. You will absolutely be using your skills as a computer scientist. I examined the A-level this year, and it is harder to mark programming than it is to work in your average Scrum in your average software firm. So yes, you will absolutely use the hard skills of computer science on a day-to-day basis. Any more questions? Maybe just time for one more, or maybe no more. Okay, perfect. Thank you very much for your time. I'm going to leave it there.